Hyundai EV performance, new car sales, ZF autonomous, 400 kilowatt chargers, Honda battery management, LKQ Euro car parts unlimited warranty. Where are we going to get mechanics from? Hello, my name is Paul Callan and welcome to this week's MotorZen news. A couple of weeks ago we reported on Volkswagen's idea of reviving GTI in the EV era. Well, Hyundai are carrying out the same process with their IQ5. The N division have gone to work on it. The vehicle will produce 641 brake horsepower. It's got a special subframe, it's got a quick rack, it's got four-wheel drive. It runs on 275 by 35 21 Pirelli tyres. It's got 400mm front disc brakes on it. It is brake by wire, and it's got massive regeneration incorporated into the braking system. It's got paddle shift on it, so with retardation, so when you change down the gears, it simulates the same thing as if you're using a manual gearbox. It has got a track mode on it. Because they're saying this vehicle we're designing it for you as the owner to take it on track days. It can give you 20 minutes of high performance track performance, and then you have 15 minutes of charge to go again. It can produce 0.6 G's of force on maximum retardation. So what we have here is a vehicle that really is defining how performance cars will look in the future. Oh yeah, and it's got fake noise as well, fake engine noise as well. So, okay, traditionalists will say it's not a car in the traditional sense, but I think the driver's ability to maximise the software modes that are coming on these new performance vehicles, I think that's where the skill is going to be. The setup of the car, the tune of the software, the different variations you have in the setup of the car will be interesting. It's not going to be the same as traditional internal combustion, but it's going to be interesting and fun in its own way. New car sales in Ireland were down 10.3% for September, but total sales to date were up 16.5%. The breakdown on sales now for September was petrol was coming in around 30%, diesel was coming in around 22%, hybrid coming in around 18%, and plug-in EV was coming in at 8.21%. The total of electric, so you've battery EV and plug-in together, was making up 41.919% for the whole year. So effectively electric, be it hybrid or full electric, is kind of running at almost half of our market for the year. But there are concerns within the SAMI and the people within the industry that possibly you are getting the more reluctant clientele you're getting into now, and it might not be just as easy to get people to go to EV now as it has been for this number. ZF, which is a brand we probably relate more to as transmission people, but all of these traditional component manufacturers within the industry are diversifying, and ZF are working with a company in Texas called Oceaneering, and they're developing autonomous shuttles. They're going to have special vehicle lanes. Predominantly they're going to be used initially in airports and theme parks, but again, maybe every 3 or 4 weeks we're reporting on some of these autonomous vehicles, and they're popping up everywhere with all sorts of different manufacturers and different collaborations with companies. So the more and more you see, you keep saying, right, fast forward this 5 years, 10 years, we're definitely going to get to the point of autonomous vehicles running around our streets being taken as normal. Millbrook Proving Ground in the UK have installed the most powerful charging units in the UK. 400 kilowatt charge units have been installed. The output's so strong that they've actually got liquid cooling on the cables. But these chargers are not for the general public. They're for prototype vehicles that will be tested at Millbrook and production vehicles that will be tested at Millbrook. So it's really a facility there for manufacturers who want to go to Millbrook and test their electric vehicles. To tell you the big jump this has been, up to this point they had portable 40 kilowatt charge units is simply all that was available on site, provided by a company called Vital EV. So they're the people responsible for installing these 400 kilowatt charge systems. But again, it's showing us that here we have again a traditional test track, which was traditionally internal combustion engines, that's starting to gear up its facilities to be able to provide a more than adequate charging for electric vehicles that are going to become much more common at that facility. Battery management is becoming a massive feature for manufacturers with their EV vehicles, and Honda are joining ranks with Mitsubishi Corporation, which is a different company to the motor company. One of the things they come out with to say is that they're going to reuse their old EV batteries in storage facilities. So the battery, when it's no longer good enough to use in the car, will be used as a storage battery for other systems. They're working together to enhance the management of the battery, that being smart charging, in that making sure that when the vehicle charges at home, that it's charging on the most beneficial tariff to the customer. But also then they're going to have vehicle to grid, so the vehicle is then going to put electricity back into the grid, and it's also going to manage the vehicle in such a way that when it goes to put electricity back in the grid, it's putting in at the best tariff payment to the customer. These are areas that a lot of the car manufacturers are starting to develop skills and use collaboration with other companies to improve how they do this. This is becoming a big feature of how EV cars will integrate into our lives into the future. LKQ Euro Car Parts, Starline brand and Optimal brand of steering and suspension components, they've just announced that they're going to give an unlimited mileage warranty to those components. They're saying that they're the first to do this, and that this is going to give a value-added peace of mind to the customer. And this is a really interesting idea, because sometimes I go to workshops and the vehicles in the workshop, the customer's complaining that you've only just recently replaced a track rod end or a drop link, and there's noise coming from it again. The garage owner's going, look at this, this is only in 6 months, 12 months, and I have to replace it. So this is really giving peace of mind, not alone to the customer, the garage's customer, but also giving peace of mind to the workshop owner. Because I keep saying to guys, look guys, you're going to have to try and assure that this component that you fit today is going to last long enough so that the customer doesn't come back, because the customer comes back to you, the workshop owner. The customer doesn't go back to the motor factorer or the parts manufacturer. He simply sees you as the workshop owner has been responsible for putting in an inferior product. So this is a really good situation for both the workshop and the customer, and it's something that probably is well worth looking a bit more closely at. I look at two trade magazines, one from Canada and one from Australia, and this month I've been looking at the Canadian magazine. An interesting thing is the topic in the Canadian magazine, the Australian magazine is exactly the same as the topic that's top of the list with most workshop in Ireland, and that's mechanics. Where are we going to get mechanics? Where are they? How can we get them? In the Canadian magazine, they speak about the fact that in Canada they pushed young people into third level education, and that there was a generation lost whereby you would have had a natural evolution of mechanics, but what they did was they encouraged young people to go to third level, so that period when you should have a X number of mechanics in that generation didn't happen. And they're in crisis there, looking for mechanics, and what they're saying is they should follow the Australian model, and the Australian model was that they looked at it and said they need to take in immigrant mechanics. They set up a model with Philippines where they train mechanics for 12 weeks in Philippines, and then they bring them over on a visa to Australia and continue to train them and develop them and integrate them into the system in Australia. The interesting thing was, in the Australian magazine, when I was reading up about it, they're saying that's not producing enough mechanics, and they've worked out that they think they've got 27,500 workshops, and that each one of those workshops is short one mechanic, and then they add in auto electrician workshops and body shops, so they reckon they need 35,000 mechanics. And that what they're coming up with now is that they're going to look at retired mechanics and see can they bring back retired mechanics and master techs into the system and use their skill and their knowledge and the wisdom in some way. So it goes to show you that this is a worldwide problem, because again, the most common question I get asked when I walk into a workshop is, you know where I get a mechanic? And I keep saying, lads, they're not there, they don't exist. But it seems to be a huge issue all around the world, and it's something that as a trade, we need to sit down and try and work out what we're going to do about this and how we're going to get around it, because it is beginning to become a crisis in the Irish vehicle repair industry as well. That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, we're getting good consistent numbers on LinkedIn. We seem to get a consistent following. We appreciate that. Anybody in the industry, anybody in the trade that you might think might be interested in what we're doing, please share with them if you could. And again, like, comment and subscribe if you're on YouTube. That's it. See you next week. Thanks very much. Bye bye.